they don't want to deal with this because it also has wave clear. You can do the same thing you can with these very slow champions where you can just delay the game. Lulu can do the same. She can also make plays early on. And then Evelyn banned from Copenhagen Wolves side simply just because they don't want to deal with the early game pressure from someone like Erne on the Evelyn. We actually see the Ziggs ban coming in against Coutard, and also LeBlanc take away from Curb his favorite champion when it comes to making plays early and then roaming around the map, setting up kills for Millenium.
Well, they consider a first pick Gragas coming out from this one. I'd be quite surprised because that gives Millenium then two other directions to go for, whether that be Elise, for example, and to pick the priority on the supports now that Thresh has gone.
And the thing about the Elise pick, amazing was the guy talking about how teams don't practice Elise anymore, so they don't really want to pick it up this early. We will see if he actually decides to fall. Nope. Decides to just lock in the Elise in, ignores the Elise completely, and Elise in for him. 5 wins, 1 loss. Amazing KDA, and he's always setting up so many things early game. So I like this pick for them, and they really trust in him to do well early.
Well, we should have listened to him yesterday because he actually just basically told us what he just did right there with ignoring the Elise and putting the priority to Elise in. Other side for Millenium here, we're going to see Kevin with Trundle in that top lane, a champion that he's actually done so amazingly well on. For example, just taking one of those games against Alliance 5-0-14.
He has a KD of 37 on Trundle, won 2 games with it, and they take it away from Youngbuck, who absolutely loves to play Trundle. Both teams really know how strong this champion is. As soon as you get into team fights, put down a good pillar, steal away some stats from the enemy tank, and you just become this monster, very hard to deal with. And also we have the Gragas for Curb, taking it away from Copenhagen Wolves, making sure they don't have this safe wave clear. And we've seen Curb before on Gragas. You can push out the lane, then roam around and make plays.
So over on the other side, Annie support for Unlimited. He's played a number of different, he's gone a number of different directions with his supports. Obviously done a lot of Leona in there. We've seen Karma coming out a couple of times from him as well, but gonna be Annie. And the interesting one for me is obviously this Kayle. How to change this patch?
Kayle was nerfed a little bit. Her Q is now 0.6 ratio instead of 0.1. However, her ultimate does cost no mana at the moment, and also her heal actually scales with ability power, so you move faster the more ability power you have. It's a very strong change utility-wise for Kayle. Her damage is slightly nerfed, but she's still very, very good, and she should be able to do fine. Maybe not too much against this Gragas. It's a very hard lane for Kayle actually. Once Gragas gets a few levels, can start shoving out the lane and then really go for the kill. It can be very hard for Kayle to deal with her. The Lucian pick, I like that from Kraton because it simply means there's an Annie against us. We want to have a good laning phase. We're going to go Lucian. We can also dodge the Tibbers from Unlimited. And also, Elise was obviously left open. And Millenium, due to Lee Sin being picked so early, knew that they could just wait with the pick and just got to do priority picks in Trundle and Gragas, and then picked up Elise afterwards.
Now, what we see for the Wolves, they've actually picked up the AD carry, of course, for Forgiven. Gonna beat Caitlyn, a champion which he does really, really well on, actually, if you look at his form from that one. And then the top laner to be picked up, they were hanging over Vladimir, and actually they're going to switch around. It's going to be Vladimir top lane here.
And this is a champion Youngbuck has been pretty much in love with for such a long time. He loves Vladimir, he thinks he's so strong on it. And the thing against Trundle, you can always get farm. It's the same with someone like Amundo. Trundle is a little bit of a slow starting laner, so Vladimir will be able to farm from a distance, put up a lot of poke, and will scale together with Trundle. And also, here's the tricky part. You don't build too tanky onto Vladimir, so there are very few stats that Trundle can actually steal away from you once it gets to the team fights.
And there'll be a lot of AoE messiness in there for them as well. Vladimir throwing his ulti and doing damage to everyone. Tibbers coming down in the mix of it. Then Kayle swinging with the E the entire time. There's a lot of damage to actually be coming down once they get into those team fights. But, I mean, someone like Gragas can basically stop that from happening.
He can more or less decide if you want to take this fight. If not, then he just throws down the ultimate, knocks the enemy team back, and then his entire team disengages. I'm a little bit surprised about this Morgana pick, because it leaves Millenium without any real hard engage. They actually rely on a Trundle pillar or Curb coming and throw down his ultimate, shoot someone back to his team. If they pick up a Leona, which is very good against Annie, they could have set up some more fights, but they believe they want to counter-engage instead of going in for the fights.
Well, let's take a moment to check out you guys' votes. It looks actually like the Copenhagen Wolves leads Millenium by 69 to 31%. And I feel like I agree with everyone at home a lot these days. I think that's about right. The Wolves looking very much in form.
We can agree, Wolves won 3 games in a row, but we also have to remember this is the European LCS. Every single team will beat each other.
Yeah, and over again. That's
over
the interesting one from this one. It's hard to just look at who they've won and lost against and then call the games coming forward from that, because they literally are just beating each other constantly. One thing we said already, this game last time around was the longest game of the split so far. 57 minutes it took them, and that really just confirmed what we thought. The fact that these teams struggle when they have a lead of closing out games, but also that the opposition can stretch out these games and maybe bring in a bit of a weakness. But here we go, we're going into a game. It's the Copenhagen Wolves taking on Millenium.
And the funny thing is, this time around, it's actually Copenhagen Wolves who has the combo to engage. It's going to rely so much onto Annie. She has to go in, or Amazing, to go in there, find the target, get either stunned or kicked back into the face of Copenhagen Wolves so they can pick this kill up. Otherwise, both combos, they have a lot of wave clear, and they can really extend the game, so we might be in for a very long one.
Well, one of the only teams really in the European LCS to do stuff, do interesting stuff, I'll say, because everyone does stuff at level 1, is Millenium, and that's exactly what they're doing right now, moving in quite deep. Oh, the binding has actually landed here. Unlimited's going to take a lot of damage. What a stun, though. It doesn't get any better than that. His life was in danger, and he stopped it right there.
And Kirby didn't feel safe body slamming in because they didn't have any vision. They didn't know if the rest of Copenhagen Wolves were waiting, so had he body slammed in, he would have been in a very risky position and could even have died himself. So Millenium, they go in, they show some aggression, they actually put down a ward very deep in, and this is a ward that's going to last because we have Ancient Coin on 2G2, so this is a 3-minute ward, not just the trinket one.
And there is Amazing actually going to take a bit of damage. Youngbuck was just in the brush onto the top side. So the Copenhagen Wolves, not without a little push of their own really here at level 1, just trying to get as much vision as they possibly can. We see that J-Reed just waiting inside of that Death Brush. He's going to basically face off with Countsard. We see as the trinket wards do come available, they'll just put them down and have a little bit of vision.
So we have to touch a little bit on the Ancient Coin. It's a risky starting item for J-Reed because Morgana against Annie. We saw it yesterday, Vander against Unlimited. It's very hard for Morgana to actually land the poke unless she hits the bindings. So she's most possibly actually going to be poked a lot by Annie and Caitlyn early on. You won't have the tanky stats that you get from Door and Shield.
And relying really on that Black Shield, as you said, because of that coin start to really stay safe from that one, especially from the stuns that Unlimited is going to be able to throw down onto him. Interesting to see how this one all develops in there. Giving a lot of respect actually over to Creatine. We know how strong Creatine can be. Is he going to get stunned up in there? Just a little bit of damage pushed in from both sides of things. Typical kind of battle to level 2.
Battle to level 2, and it's what you can do against something like Morgana. After she used the binding, you know she doesn't bring anything. You can go forward, get some poke onto the carry, and notice how they more or less ignore J-Reed, just going full onto Creatine, because every time J-Reed misses the binding, they move forward, they know he's pretty much out of the fight.
And they are going to be hitting level 2 here faster now that they've pushed them completely away from this one. J-Reed at half, Creatine just a little bit less health on him at that point, and there is level 2 hit here by the Copenhagen Wolves. No stun charged up for Unlimited, so not able to really get in from that one, but they've done their job at this point of starving out Millenium as much as they can. And
they got some very good poke onto Creatine, who already had to use his health potion, so he needs to be really careful he doesn't get poked too much onto his own turret, because then it's going to be very hard for him to actually get back in the lane. Meanwhile, both junglers have been farming so far, but now he's actually going towards the top lane. Might go for an early gank onto Youngbuck.
Youngbuck has a point in W here, so he's basically going to have to be fast on it. Oh, not a lot. He's already used this one. That could be very, very dangerous. He's gone Flash and Ghost. He's used both of them. The Cocoon lands onto him. Youngbuck in all kinds of trouble. Can they finish flashing? Kevin actually is going to pick up the kill. Last blow will get him. He did take a bit more damage than really calculated into that one, but nonetheless good from Millenium. But I have to wonder, Youngbuck maybe a little bit dodgy in terms of the times when he's using spells there.
Yeah, you know it's bad if you use both your Ghost, your Flash and your Pull and you still die. Very nice time gank from Aranir, but simply due to the fact Youngbuck popped his Pull so early on, when he was even Kevin only there, it meant that he couldn't escape this gank. Nice use though of both Pillar and also Aranir saving his Cocoon till after the flash from Youngbuck, then he landed it and it took the kill.
Really, really nice first blood from Millenium. It might not be the last one here. Well, it will obviously be the last first blood. That didn't make sense. They're going for Countout here. And, well, he's going to get Cocoon, but I don't know if they've got enough damage to actually take him down, but nonetheless forces him out of lane.
A very active start from Aranir. He focused on top and mid lane. Meanwhile, Amazing, he actually went down towards the bot lane, possibly to see if he can start a dive, but he decided to back off and nothing happened. Meanwhile, though, Aranir has been very active and he's actually been putting a lot of pressure on the Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, we heard from him he's not afraid of going in there and dying himself if it means that the rest of the team actually benefit from things. He doesn't care about his KDA and his score by the end of it. It just has to be a successful move if he does end up going down, and that's what we see in his play. I mean, if he lands the cocoons, it's so very hard to get away from that when you pair it with a Gragas or a Trundle.
Yeah, especially because there's so much damage on both Gragas and Trundle. They also have a slow, so if you get some CC on early, if someone is stuck far up into the lane, it's very easy to chase them down. Youngbuck, he did ward up, but he has to be careful because he's pushed far up to the turret. Aranea though, he's going towards the mid again.
Yeah, Kautard surely in trouble from this one. That's a full range cocoon. Kautard does have a flash available, and there it is used, but it's not going to be enough now. Curve going low. Amazing's right in there. Can they finish him off? Curve's gone low. Amazing's backed off, but he gets the kill with the red buff on him actually in the end.
So Millenium, they invest everything into this gank. Curve, he body slams and flashes into the face of Kautard. That's why he got to him, even though Kautard flashed away. It did mean though, Amazing going very aggressive.
Yeah, Aranea kind of misjudged that one. Actually lands a cocoon. Amazing's already moved off. It's all going to be about the Q and whether he can land it. He does land it. Aranea's going down. Amazing went very low in the end, but he gets the kill nonetheless.
And this is the downside of the very aggressive Aranea. Sometimes he stays too long, gives up a kill here to Amazing, who's starting out very strong once again. He's the guy Copenhagen Wolves need to get pretty much fed early game and get him rolling so he can help the rest of the team. But all in all, it was a good gank setup by Millenium. They just invested everything, so because Amazing was there for the counter gank, they ended up giving kills back to Copenhagen Wolves.
You see that, how quickly Youngbuck can push those waves once he starts stacking that E up. Got this natural sustain as well coming out from his Q. Not having problems there. Well, I say not having problems. He's already had that one problem that resulted in the first kill over for Millenium, but we'll see if the junglers actually get involved again up in that top lane. Considering the fact that his Flash and his Ghost are both down, I'm quite surprised that that Aranea's not been up there a little bit more.
Especially because, yeah, as you said, no summoners, and he's just chopped all the way up the turret of Kevin, almost even diving him, harassing him on the turret constantly, and both the top lane and bot lane for Copenhagen Wolves are just winning so hard CS-wise because they can just shove the lane, and because they're stronger laners champion-wise at the moment.
There is Kevin teleporting back in, and you can see that Youngbuck just steps forward to do a little bit more damage. But this is the lane that they want to really get going. Kautard, of course, doesn't have a flash. There's a repel, and he's already too far behind the turret here. And that's the beauty of the heal and the speed for the Kayle with that scaling now.
Yeah, the speed will be very useful for him to escape these ganks, maybe even try and dodge around the belts from Curb. But yeah, a lot of focus onto the mid lane. They want to get Curb rolling early, and now Jerry going really low.
Wow, that was a miscalculation, or was it? Aranea's coming around, maybe just starting off a little bit too early. Aranea's going to do a lot of damage here. Will he be able to finish off Unlimited? One more auto attack will actually do it. Forgiven has to get away because Gragas is coming down here now as well. There's the ultimate. What a flash from Forgiven. It sent him behind the tower when that ultimate was coming in. If he'd not have flashed, he would be dead by now.
If he didn't flash, he would have been dead. So very nice use of flash from him. It does mean, however, that Millenium can go towards this dragon. Kautard, he's still in the mid lane, and Amazing, he's up in the top, so they won't even contest this one. But Jerry, he tried to bait it out. He wanted them to go on him, so then Aranea could come down from the side and get a kill. Did take too much damage and actually died for it, so it wasn't entirely worth it. Though, they get the dragon, so it actually makes it a small win for Millenium.
Meanwhile, Kautard pushed this middle lane up, but honestly not really got enough damage or anything to really make that much of a dent on this outer turret. So no turrets taken up until now. We see that the gold is at 400 in favour of the Copenhagen Wolves. That top lane CS 63 to 48. We see that Vladimir just started to get a little bit out of hand on that front. When he did die, he actually picked up the boots as his first item, which, considering both of those defensive summoners were down, he needed them.
You need the move speed, of course, and it works also against Trundle. If you can always get away from him, keep hitting from the distance, that's the best. Amazing, he's sticking around this mid lane, that's why Kautard feels safe to push the turret, and he might even want Aranea to come in and gank, and then Amazing is there for the counter gank. The roam Curb did beforehand actually cost him quite a lot. He was even in CS, but now he's fell behind because he went all the way bot. He didn't actually pick up anything except for the dragon later on together with Millenium.
Youngbuck has got himself that revolver now, so he's going to be sustaining even better whilst doing that bit more damage as well as he goes. As you said, this mid lane, Kautard now does have his blue buff on, Curb has his blue buff on as well, and we'll see how they face off. Now Curb does get in this CS total that he lost out on a little bit earlier on, as Jerry down bottom going to take a lot of damage, but in the end it was blocked out, the ace in the hole, by Creaton, just to help spread that damage between the two of them.
And notice Aranea again, around the mid lane, he is spotted by the ward, in the river, so Kauto knows he's there. He's not going to go too aggressive because you don't want to risk dying. Amazing, meanwhile, he's coming in. He can potentially set up a counter gank.
RNA is on the wrong side of the map at the moment, and there we do see him repel over to the other side. Amazing is in behind them. Don't know if they've got enough damage to think about kills here. In fact, both teams kind of do a little bit and then back away from it. Definitely not committing fully to that one.
And RNA are constantly putting focus on the mid lane. It meant the bot lane didn't get too much help. They now lost the turret. Top lane will lose the turret as well because Youngbuck, he's just constantly pressuring him down. Amazing, he's staying around bot here if something should happen. But out here, he's just doing wolves and doesn't seem like he want to go down and stop anything from going on.
Yeah, they put a ward straight over into the white camp just to see if Amazing was there. And guessed right there, did J-Reet. That Amazing has already backed away from that. And with RNA starting to come across, we can see that the Copenhagen Wolves just want to keep it safe on that bottom side. Counter's starting to now feel a little bit more confident against Gragas in the mid though.
And here's the scary thing for Millenium, because the laners from Copenhagen Wolves, obviously they're counter picks towards what they're playing against, but they also scale really well into late game. Vladimir becomes so strong once you get some items. We have Caitlyn, of course, once you hit the 3-4 item point, she's very, very strong as well. This time around, RNA is finally going back to the top lane. He is spotted out though.
Well, he was, spotted out, as you said. The summoners are now back up, and Youngbuck basically just turns around waiting for the cocoon before he uses that ball, and RNA realizing he can't actually do anything with those flash ghost up, and the fact that he's pulling, be able to pull away from that cocoon in the end, just walks away. But Amazing is now starting to move up to this top side of the map.
If he can actually spot out RNA, he can hit him fairly low. Did spot him here with the golems, but he's pretty much too far away for actually start anything. So Amazing, he's just sticking around, making sure nothing really happens.
Yeah, well, maybe to help out finish off this tower here. It is already very low, Kevin. Just being hit by the cue wall. Then you got to follow up. Actually, Youngbuck getting caught there with the cocoon. Half of his health gone very quickly. But
he will be able to regain with his own Q. He also has the spell vamp early on. There's a lot of regen. As long as he can get to keep farming these minions, he's gonna go back to full HP, and it's no issue for him. Copenhagen Wolves really want this out of turret. Meanwhile, Millenium sent 3 people mid.
3-man push onto mid. Kautal's got to clear out those minions here with safety, which he's actually done a good job of staying away from that dark binding, but he's been pretty much forced away from that turret now. As we finally see him come back in, as the minions start to join in, he'll be able to force Millenium off that one. Not the case really in this top lane though. Amazing and Youngbuck between them causing all kinds of problems, and it looks like they're going to back away and leave that one.
And they have so much range poke, especially with Vladimir. There's nothing Millenium can do to defend it. They're going to lose this top turret. Meanwhile, look at the 80 carry CS. That is a huge difference. There's no chance at the moment for Kraton to do anything towards Forgiven, so he's just going to stay here, constantly farm away, and constantly expand his lead.
And that's something that Forgiven does so incredibly well, and that trend definitely continuing. BF saw Vamp Scepter for him. Compare that over to just the Phage, and having to go in for boots there earlier on as well did Creatine. He's having a horrible time of it in the bottom lane. And
that's again where we have to question the Morgana pick. If it works for them in teamfights, it's alright, but they've really been losing the lane hard. One of the reasons was the Morgana. Obviously, Copenhagen Wolves have been playing it pretty much perfect with the 2, with the Annie and the Caitlyn, like we saw yesterday as well, where they did with Annie and Jinx, constantly pressured away. But Morgana in lane, Ancient Coin is not the best start and didn't help Kraton at all.
Youngbuck actually just getting spotted out there by Kevin, who's going to put a decent amount of damage back onto him. He's got that Negatron cloak and the Cutlass's Curb going a little bit deep. It's actually pulled them back in. Kautal's locked up. Curb picks up that kill. They're not going to be able to take down Amazing, but that was a strange fight. I think both teams underestimating the value and the damage from the other.
But that was a beautiful combo from Millenium, because the ultimate from Curb knocked Kautal back straight into the cocoon from Elise, and then you just bursted him down. Elise has so much single target burst, and if you drop low, her Q is an execute in spider form, so she can just finish you off very easily.
And that's in perfect timing for not only this blue buff spawn to go over on towards Kurt, but in 30 seconds the Dragon's coming up as well. And with the Copenhagen Wolves taking that last one, not something the Millenium are going to give up.
Actually, Millenium took the first one.
That's true.
After they did the whole gang in bot lane. They invested a lot with Curb, losing a lot of CS, but they did get the Dragon for it, so they need to pick up the next one to try and catch up and go, because the lanes, they are losing at the moment.
Lane's falling behind it. This top lane, 15 CS, which is going to jump to 20 CS just like that with one single E coming out from Youngbuck. He's happy staying up there, but staying up there might also be a problem for them, because that Dragon has now spawned in. There's a teleport for Kevin, so he can get involved if he wants to. The Wolves are closing in a little bit from mid and the bottom lane. Amazing is there. Ace in the hole's going to go through, and there is the steal. Amazing goes in, picks up the dragon, and they back off. Perfect.
And that is just so perfect for Copenhagen Wolves. They don't have to risk a fight. Youngbuck, he was moving down from the top lane in case there was a teleport from Kevin. Kevin would have been there first if a fight had started, so it's just perfect for Copenhagen Wolves. Get the dragon, back out, go back to your very strong lanes and just continue farming away.
Really good stuff, and that tower in mid is actually starting to go really low. He's got 2 levels over RNA though. This could be actually a really, really interesting fight. We've got Kale coming up. Will they try and turn this one around? Trundle's come into the jungle as well, and there he's Youngblood going in. He's actually ulted onto RNA, and the ultimate, where's he timed this one right? No! He jumped too early. I think he might have been dead even if he didn't jump then. And there is the push. J-Ree gonna ult in on towards Amazing. They lock him up. Kurt picks up that one.
So again, Aranea would have died up in the air even though he had the ultimate from Vladimir. He would have died up there. You don't prevent the damage from taken by repelling up. Meanwhile, Youngbuck, he actually went in. As you said yourself, he was 2 levels above him. Aranea decided to stick around to stop him. Managed to stop him at first, but then he stayed. Instead of just being happy pulling Youngbuck away, he actually stayed and decided to take the fight with him for the red buff and then died for it.
Now, there is the turret as well, the 3rd one of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. All outer turrets are now gone from them. This is where they... Oh, this is where we'll see how well they can control the game. They've done this in their previous games. Let's not forget, 3 wins on the bounce. They beat Millenium, Fnatic, and Roccat to get on that streak, and so far it's looking really good for them again.
And the good thing for Copenhagen Wolves is that they don't actually have to do anything special compared to what they have been doing. They can just keep pushing out these lanes because, again, Youngbuck, Ghost, Flash, pull on Vladimir. Very hard to kill once he gets these items. He's already having a giant spell, and no, landing onto Kautar.
Have they got the damage though here? That's Creaton who's so far behind, and Kautar, who's actually his ultimate did just come off cooldown. He had flash as well, so once he goes low, no real danger for him, and he's going to get himself his blue buff and recall back off to home and probably finish off that Nash's tooth along the way.
Meanwhile though, Youngbuck is coming towards his mid lane. They want to stop it. 4 members from Millenium. Can they try something?
Oh, they're going to pull Unlimited back out. They got the damage. Aranea stepped forward as though he wanted to go for that one, but Youngbuck was off to the side. But with those barrels landing from Kerp here, it looks like Copenhagen Wolves may well be forced to back away from the turret. There's another one. Lands on towards Youngbuck. Turret's still standing. Amazing, trying his best to deal with that. Forgiving is now there as well. They should be able to hold this one, or they might just back away and lose it anyway.
The fact that Gragas' ultimate is down means the hard engage, or actually the engage for Millenium, is gone. They need to land a binding now and then try to dive Copenhagen Wolves onto the turret. That's why they feel they can stay and defend this one. And also, it's going to be very hard for Millenium to actually set something up.
Bindings and cocoons, the scary things at this point when you stood behind that tower, and there is a cocoon landed on towards Kautar. The Colin coming out from Quirton as well, and slowly but surely, if they do this over and over and over again, they're going to be able to take that turret, and the barrel not far off coming off cooldown either.
And once the ultimate is ready, they can set something up. Youngbuck, he is moving around up here in the top. He might be going, he's actually going down towards the mid lane. Maybe want to try and collapse onto Millenium. It set something up.
Chasing all goes through. Not really the damage that they were looking for. That's the problem with chasing against an Elise and a Morgana. They're going to throw the cocoon the dot, binding your way. If you're packed up tightly, then he's going to get 1 or 2 of you locked up in that one. But for now, the Copenhagen Wolves at least chase them out. In the meantime, we saw Kevin split pushing, and he's managed to take down the first turret of the game, actually, for Millenium.
Kevin is using this teleport very, very good because he's just going to a lane, split pushing, and if something happens, he can join in with teleport. Meanwhile, Youngbuck, he went top to shove that one out, so nobody was bot to actually defend the turret. Free turret for Millenium, just what they need to get back in the game. And meanwhile, as you talked about with the disengage with Binding and Cocoon, that's actually how Millenium can turn fights around. If Copenhagen Wolves get too aggressive and they get caught, then the rest of Millenium will just turn at least single target damage. Damage from Gragas, you can just instantly burst down a target.
And you have to fear a little bit when you look at Caitlyn. 180 to 126 years, got a kill in there as well. Already got his Bloodthirster, working towards an Infinity Edge here by the looks of it next.
And Forgiven, he loves to go this very hardcore straight up AD. He doesn't value attack speed too highly, so he's going for the Infinity Edge to just get maximum damage output. If he can land, you know, just a few shots on whoever from Millenium's side, he will be able to do so much damage. We see Kevin, he's been going for magic resist early, except for his boots, so he won't be able to tank someone like Forgiven for too long.
There's no real need for him to get to go in for a last whisper at this point to add in on top of that Bloodthirster, because well, there's not that much armor over on the other side to be shredded through.
Standard build would be something like a static shift to provide even more wave clear, but he's decided to ignore that because they feel like they have enough wave clear just with Kate. with Vladimir and obviously with Kale, we see how fast he can also clear the waves. So he didn't feel like going for this early on.
And Creighton doing the best that he can here to actually get back in this game in terms of farm. Sitting all the way back on his inner turret, basically just making sure that those waves don't push out too far and keeping that farm going. He's done a decent job to get back. It was a lot more severe early on. Still 60 CS though. And
a bit like the game yesterday with Copenhagen Wolves against Rocket. Copenhagen Wolves got ahead, but they were happy with the combo they had late game, so they decided to just take it easy, farm away, didn't want to take any chances. This time around again, they do the same. They just more or less let Millenium farm up, and then they just go to their own lanes, farm, and just pretty much rely on the fact they have a stronger late game combo in their mind.
Almost forgiving him and getting himself a red buff for himself. If you look at his scores in their last 3 wins, you can see how safely he really likes to play. 7-0-3 against Millenium last time around, 5-0-5 against Fnatic, died once against Rocket, but didn't have any kills, had 10 assists, and that just shows you that he has constantly farmed an absolute storm, no doubt about that one, but he plays very, very safe when it comes to the fights as well.
Yeah, his team fight positioning is one of the best we have here in Europe. He's always in the right position, always hitting the right targets, and also staying away from all pretty much that can kill him. And that's one of the things he's so good at. That's also why Copenhagen Wolves like to play this style, where they give a lot of farm to him and rely on him being very strong late game.
Oh, Ace in the hole coming through, and actually does somehow manage to find Creatine through that. Already the Copenhagen Wolves have started off this Dragon. 20.5 minutes in. Let's see if they can take it. Cocoon actually missing. Culling comes out. Going to be picked up there by Amazing, and actually they're doing a lot of damage on towards that back line, and Trundle's gone right to the back to try and get it on towards Forgiven, but you mentioned it earlier, he's not really got any defense from that one. He's managed to run around though. In the meantime, Millenium were hitting from the other side and managed to pick up a kill on Youngbuck.
And Copenhagen Wolves, they completely split up. Youngbuck, he went into the backline of Millenium, while the rest of Copenhagen Wolves, they backed off, did some damage onto Trundle, but simply due to the fact that Youngbuck got singled out by Millenium and killed, and they couldn't take down Trundle, Millenium actually won the fight.
And now they could be in a little bit of trouble though. Piltover Peacemaker did land on towards Aranea, and the Wolves were looking to chase in from that one, but I think realizing, you know what guys, we could actually push and try and have a go on this inner turret. Gragas can't risk coming through that opening to get next to his tower. They're going to have to come around from the backside, but they're very, very low.
And a bit like we talked about in Champ Select, both combos have some good wave clear. If Gragas is actually staying around, he will be able to clear this out together with Creaton, making it harder for Copenhagen Wolves to push anything. So we are in for a game here where both teams can really wave clear, but also have pretty good siege.
What you're saying is it's going to be another long one.
I'm saying there's a chance.
I think there's a pretty good chance. We're 22 minutes in almost, and while there is that lead there for the Copenhagen Wolves, we've seen that it's definitely not too much of a lead from us. Forgiven going to take a lot of damage. There's the ultimate used very early on. That might actually cost them. Barrel comes through, but Kirk gets locked up. Amazing picks up the kill. Unlimited will die. There's the kick onto Creatine. Ace in the hole will be blocked by Aranea.
So Millenium actually managed to pick up 2 kills. They caught out Forgiven first. He had to pretty much flash away, or he would have died from the barrel, which simply meant Copenhagen Wolves couldn't fight this one, and the rest of them died. Amazing did get a kill onto Crip, who was the guy who went into the tower range and got caught pretty much stunned in there. All in all though, Millenium, and again, they pick up 2 kills to only 1. They win the fights.
2 for 1, take the turret. Good trade there for Millenium. Let's have another look at that one here. Forgiven just a little bit too far out, funnily enough, after I was just talking about his positioning.
And also the fact that Kautar's ultimate actually didn't block anything because he stopped all the damage. He does survive, but the rest, look at here, Kirk caught under the turret, and maybe will pick up the kill, but the rest, the binding onto Unlimited gets him the kill, and also Aranea chases off Kautar on the side, gets another kill, and then they take the turret. So Millenium, they are getting back in this game. They are almost even in gold now.
Back into it, just like we like to see a back and forth game between the Copenhagen Wolves and Millenium so far. Let's have a look at some items here, because we haven't done that for a little while. Youngbuck in particular, Riley's Crystal Scepter was the last item that he just came in there. Nice chomp down from Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, we already talked about the fact that that Blade of the Ruined Kings in there. He went a bit more towards Magic Resist, actually picking up a Giant Spell as his next item after that.
So you want to be a little bit more tanky. The Riley's Crystal Scepter onto Youngbuck is very smart, because Copenhagen Wolves, they rely on him being into the backline of Millenium. If he can slow everyone there, the rest of Copenhagen Wolves can follow up, join in for the fight, and then set something up. So I like that pickup. It also makes him more tanky, because he's the guy who's going to be in the front line. He's going to take a lot of damage from this Millenium team.
Down to the 80 carries once again. We already touched on the fact that Forgiven farming up the storm. He's now at 234 CS, pretty much keeping up to that 10 CS a minute rate that he's done all game long. On the other side though, we did see a couple of assists and a kill coming down for Critter in that last fight. It's giving him that Trinity Force.
And Forgiven actually decided to not go for the Infinity Edge already, just go for the last Whisper with his pickaxe. So he has this very, very armor penetration build where he's going to do a lot of damage to whoever's coming close to him. There isn't too much armor though on Millenium's side yet, but it will come later on, and that's where the last Whisper will benefit him.
Certainly going to be needed as they move through here. They see a few wards going down early, and well, that's possibly the easiest binding that Jerry's going to get all day. Ends up missing out on that one, and they just agree, okay, we'll just ward it. Both of us have vision of that area. The Wolves just want a complete line across the jungle, and they're now making the move onto that inner turret in the top lane.
It seems they were tired of letting Millenium actually move around on the map like they want to, so now Copenhagen Wolves are putting the pressure onto the top turn. If they can keep doing the waves and then get some damage onto the turret, they might be able to take it, but Millenium have the chance to engage with someone like Kerb.
They're just leaving them on a bit of a wild goose chase right now. The Wolves heading back down towards that mid lane.
Not much happening here. They went up there, they tried to catch Millenium out of position, see if they can pick up the turret and then back off. Instead, Millenium rotated really well to defend the turret, got them cleared off, and instead now we're going on to the mid lane.
To that middle lane. Can they finish off that turret there? Millenium going to be pulled around to that one. Obviously got more ground to actually cover if they're to get up to that inner turret. Dragon is coming up here in 1 minute and 10 seconds, and the Wolves done very good job with that one, although positioning in the team that's been really starting things off there has not been one-sided on that front. Both teams have actually been there before the others on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, and Copenhagen Wolves, they got the last dragon, but they end up losing the fight, or at least losing Youngbok in the fight. This time around, if they can get down there, get the dragon again, and then they start the fight where everyone collapses onto Millenium, they should be able to at least be a more even fight, because they actually lost the last two, because it's been Millenium deciding who to kill, and they also Millenium actually doing the engages.
Kevin has the red buff now for Millenium. We would have given it to Creighton, but he was off farming once again, up to 184 CS at this point, which certainly not a bad total for him. Interesting to look at Kaltard actually, because he's behind in the creep score, but also got those 3 deaths to his name. Obviously been using the ultimate elsewhere.
He's been using it on other targets. We saw the one on Forgiven in mid lane, where he actually used it after all the damage had hit him. So he more or less wasted it, and instead he got caught out to the side, got killed by Millenium. He needs to be careful where he positions, but he also needs to get the items like Death Cap, he needs to get Void Staff, he needs to get the Lich Bane, because the nerfed Kale on the Q is liking some damage and is relying a bit more on items than before.
Here we see the dance around Dragon. Not towards the Baron dance for now. Dragon is high priority enough when this game is so close. And if Millennium can finish this one off, yes they do, that will bring them right up there back in gold.
And Copenhagen Wolves were completely out of position. They knew the timer because they picked up the last one, and it's a jumper going in.
Wow, coming around the side from this one, we see the shield actually coming down, and Creaton's not really going to take much damage whatsoever from that ultimate out of Youngbok, but it may have gifted them the positioning here that they need to take down this inner turret.
Yeah, so they can actually get the mid turret. It seemed beforehand when the Dragon actually spawned that half of Copenhagen Wolves wanted to go there, and the other half wanted to go in, and now, amazing, almost catching out in the air.
Really tense stuff on that front, but look at Kevin. Chomp down onto the tower, and his W in there. He can take those towers so very quickly. Once again, he's just going to take it back off, recall, and actually he's not going to recall. He was just waiting to see who exactly was going to come up and stop that push happening.
The attack speed from Blade of the Rune King, attack speed from his W, and the fact he can Q onto turrets means that Trundle is one of the best split pushers at taking down the turrets. So if they leave him alone up here with the teleport, he can just constantly push down, and if he ever gets to a turret, he will do a lot of damage to it.
That was a lot of damage onto Kaltar. Actually, we see there how important that heal is for him, getting him onto almost full health straight away after that. And we start that tug of war game around middle. One thing that was interesting when we came to this stage yesterday in the Copenhagen Wolves win over Roccat, they played for such a long time around Baron, moving in there, getting the vision down, clearing out vision, then giving that up and then going back in and trying to bait them in. Yeah, I think need to be a little bit more effective on that one. They only took Baron actually after something happened that wasn't directly related to all that work that they'd done at Baron. And
the difference also, yesterday they were 10k gold ahead when they decided to do it. This time around they're only 1k ahead, so they don't feel confident enough going in, fighting for this Baron vision. Instead, both teams seem happy enough just farming away, going later into the game. They both have very good late game combos, and then it's going to pretty much decide on to rotations in the late game. Obviously the Baron, and obviously who's team fighting the best when you really hit the late game point.
Well, we do see that a few wards have started to go around the Baron, and want to see the Trundle's W down there. Is he having a go at that Baron? Have they started that one off? Nope, just clearing out pink wards.
Millenium actually has a very good Baron team. They have obviously Kevin and Aaron, who is both Elise and Trundle, are very good at taking down the Baron. They also have the burst from Curb to pick it up. So if they can actually get in a position where they can sneak 2 or 3 people in, they might be able to pick it up before Copenhagen Wolves can see anything.
Oh, there's the Cocoon actually landing top. Not got the range though. And Coutard had already come across the side, had his intervention up and available for him. Either way, the Copenhagen Wolves just spotting the fact that a few wards have been put down on that front. Actually, blue buff's going to be stolen away here by Youngbuck. That's a good move if they can actually finish it off. They've used Ace in the hole on towards Gragas, and that will mean that this blue buff is secure. Yes, it will, but Youngbuck gets that one. Nice steal.
He just gets it. He actually used the sweeping lens early on to make sure there wasn't any vision in the area, so he can pick up the blue buff. Very nice frame. Cooldown reduction is very strong on Vladimir. He's going to return down to the bot lane, continue farming away, pushing up the lanes. Meanwhile, the rest of Copenhagen Wolves in the mid lane, taking it very, very safe. Don't want to take any chances.
And once again, they back off and hang around that Baron area. Last time they were on the red side trying to make the plays against Roccat. This time around on the blue side. We'll see how that plays this time. Just waiting for those sweeping lenses to actually come off cooldown so that they could continue to check that out. There's the true sight of the back, so they know that ward's there, but the vision not going to last long enough to take it down.
Won't be able to take it down now. The next sweeping lens, they get the ward, so they get what they need, but Millenium is close by. They can just put in a new ward. Arnie has the next one. Youngbuck, he might go in for this one.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go in for that one. He's taking quite a lot of damage on his way out. It's a good barrel through the red buff pit from Kerp. That brings Youngbuck down to half HP, and Copenhagen Wolves simply saying, we can't fight this one now. Youngbuck's gone too low, back off.
Simply just backing off, going back to the farming, Kerb returning to the top lane, picking up. Meanwhile, Kevin, he just sticks to just one lane, constantly split pushing, constantly want to try and force members from Copenhagen Wolves down so he can teleport in and put a good fight up from Millenium somewhere else.
And getting the items that he needs now. Once that Spirit Visage is finished in there, he's got pretty much everything with the Blade of the Ruin King, then the Sunfire Cape, that Spirit Visage as I mentioned, but that's going to take a little bit of time for him, but this split push is certainly helping him out on that front. And again, he's 2-0-1. You mentioned that his KDA is just phenomenal on Trundle.
He's a very, very good Trundle player, and he's always showing that he's coming here for counter with a good pillar.
Can they actually get in onto him though? The pillar did get that slow off, but not quite enough to keep chasing things down. Kurt was a little bit far behind as well. And Millenium actually just jostling themselves into position to get more wards down. Again, that fight for vision all around the Baron.
We will see also who Kevin actually decides to ultimate in teamfights, because Copenhagen Wolves have done a good job not building too tanky when it comes to stats. They've gone more for the HP. We see the Giants build onto Amazing. There's very few stats for Kevin to actually steal. If he pops it on Amazing or Youngbuck, it will make him a little bit squishy in teamfights than you normally see Trundle be. And it could be an option for Copenhagen Wolves to simply focus him down early.
And they've been shielded up there from that one. He's going to repel off as well. That was nice reactions. They were starting to close in on him. Amazing just stealing away that last Wraith as well. And again, we see the back and forth. And it's funny, we talked about the 10,000 gold lead that that they had over Roccat yesterday, and they didn't look even remotely confident around Baron. How are we gonna see them look any confident when they're just 1,000 gold ahead?
We need to see this next dragon coming up. We need to have a team fight where one of the team is winning it before we can actually say, okay, who should do what. Because at the moment they're so even. Nobody wants to really make the move. Nobody wants to go in. It seems we will have a fight starting. Yummer at least is going in.
Yeah, Amazing and RNA having a bit of a battle down the bottom. There's Tibbers coming in. Jerry's not going to survive this one, or is he? Flashes away. The heal comes down. Youngbuck picks up that one. There's the barrel. Finally, they're starting to turn this one around. Millenium going back in. Creates an off of the side. In the end, it's a lot of damage being done, but only a 1-for-0. Forgiven has to net out of there, but Millenium aren't going to give up this dragon for free.
No, but Copenhagen Wolves, they managed to get a round of Millenium here, catching Jerry out, who was actually going in to try and land a binding to set up something. It means Copenhagen Wolves can pick up the dragon. We didn't get the big team fight we wanted to see, but we did get Copenhagen Wolves picking up the third dragon of the game for them and extending the gold by a little bit.
2,500, let's say now, is the lead for the Copenhagen Wolves. So see what they do with that little bit that they've carved themselves down the items. Once again, we see now Bloodthirst, a Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and that other BF sword in there for Forgiven. So as long as he's in position to actually do damage and not totally dove on by someone, then he's going to be a major factor as these fights go on.
And it will be very hard for Millenium to actually get to him, because you only more or less have Trundle going towards your AD carry. He's going to try and pop the pillar, but that's where you can net through it and more or less just stand behind the one, actually use the pillar in your advantage, because he can't run through it either, and just shoot onto Trundle while he's going towards you. So they will need someone like Aaron here or someone like Curb to also come in towards Forgiven, do some damage on him to actually take him down.
On the other side, let's have a look at Creaton, because he's the one that fell behind very early, and to be honest, that's not really changed much. He's almost 100 CS behind Forgiven at this point. Got his Trinity Force from earlier, Bloodthirster, and a Last Whisper now in there, as we see again that fight around Baron. More and more pink wards being picked up here so that they can maintain the control. That was actually Youngbuck getting in very close. He's going to do some good damage when they turn it around. Youngbuck's dead. That was a costly mistake for them. Tibbers went down, but it didn't do a single thing. And now Millenium are actually chasing. That's some good damage. Amazing. He's going to have to dash away. We've got Kevin there at the front. He couldn't really get around the pillar to get back into that one. In the end, it's a 1-for-0 again. Quite a large skirmish, but with limited deaths.
But it was actually a very bad engage from Youngbuck, because he used his own pool to dodge the cocoon, and then he still went in for it. And there was nothing left for him. He doesn't have a Son yet, he couldn't survive it, and simply when Millenium just collapsed on him, took the kill, and then the Tibbers tried to save him, but they didn't hit, and in the end, Millenium are going unlimited.
I'm not sure what he was really doing there, to be honest. How he's going to get caught out by that one. We saw the pillar coming down, and hard to escape once you get that big slow onto you. Copenhagen Wolves pretty much just traded their support for a blue buff on Caitlyn.
And this is actually what we need for the game also to really start get going. This means Millenium can try and push down this turret. The wave clear is still there though, Caitlyn is there, and Kill is there to shove out the wave, so he will force Millenium to back off, and instead might reset everything. But a few kills for Millenium, making it even harder for Copenhagen Wolves now to make the next move.
And just before that, we were talking about the 2,000 gold. That's now back down to a 1,000 gold lead for the Copenhagen Wolves. 4-3 in turrets. We're at 35 minutes into this game. Let's not forget the last one, 57 minutes, the longest game so far. Still a possibility to beat that record, and not just that record, but maybe the farm record as well. About that, and there's an interesting statistic for you: 24 blue side dragons for the Wolves, 19 red side dragons for Millenium. And it's kind of adding up to how this game has really gone. There's Tibbers coming down though on towards Curb. Have they got the damage to finish off? Here comes Youngbuck. He's going to throw his ulti across the entire team. Forgiven picks up the first kill. They continue to chase down Ace in the hole. Blocked just by Kevin. And again, big fight, only one kill. But this might be enough with that Elise down now for the Wolves to think about Baron.
And Tibbers can actually tank up the Baron as well. There's only a pink ward in there, easy for them to clear. Will deny the vision. We need to see what Millenium will do. Gragas does have ultimate and his bell, and there's no vision on him, so he might be able to steal this one away from Amazing.
Popping that barrel quite early. Are they going to be able to finish this one down? They don't have vision of Curb. There's the barrel thrown in unlimited, takes a lot of damage, and it's going to be taken down. They pick it up. There's the ultimate coming out of the side from Curb. Have they got the damage here to keep going? Fail flash actually from Amazing coming through. He pinned himself against the wall. There is the ultimate though coming out. Countdown. They turn back around. Jerry's going to get destroyed by Forgiven. Double kill for him. And now it's Kevin trying to run himself away. Use his ultimate here on towards Amazing, but he's just going to keep chasing. Slow comes down. The Wolves have forced Kevin away. They can go for towers.
And this team fight was the perfect example of why Copenhagen Wolves love to give all the farm to Forgiven. Look how strong he was. As soon as there was a missed position from Creaton, he just went in there, flashed in, took the kill, killed Jerry as well, and just 2 kills for him. Won the team fight. Copenhagen Wolves also picked up the Baron. Curb decided not to use the ultimate to try and steal it, but instead to pick up a kill onto Unlimited. And this means now Copenhagen Wolves have all the pressure onto this turret.
Oh, that was very close there. The pillar going down, the net already cast by Forgiven to get him back off to safety. And they're not particularly healthy now, so I think the decision to back away is probably for the best as well. 1 minute and 15 until the next dragon comes up. But let's have a look at that fight again at Baron.
Yeah, notice, especially Forgiven here, he's positioning far back, he doesn't want to take any chances. Creaton is actually doomed when the fight starts, and the only thing Curb really does, kills Unlimited with his ultimate, and from here on, very nice pillar by Kevin, actually blocking out Amazing also when he's trying to flash away. But here's where the missed position comes from Creaton. He gets knocked off by the ultimate from Amazing, lands the Q from Forgiven, and then he flashes in, and boom, one shot, kills him, keeps going from there, and Copenhagen Wolves can win the fight.
Yeah, and it was 3 auto attacks there for Forgiven just to finish things off. I'm quite pleasantly surprised at how decisive the Copenhagen Wolves made that call there to turn and go to Baron. It's been I think we can safely say one of the weaker points in the games that they've actually lost is, past the 20-25 minute mark, is making the right calls and being being decisive about anything.
And they felt confident that Amazing would get this Baron because, first of all, the jungler was dead from the enemy team. That's a big reason to actually go Baron, even though there's 4 members alive. And also he felt that he could even outsmite the damage from Gragas and then pick it up for Copenhagen Wolves. That was a smart move. They got the Baron for it, and also they got 2 kills onto Forgiven, the most important member for them at the moment, on this very, very, very scary Caitlyn. So more or less very nice, and it's actually funny to see how all teamfights have been one guy being caught out, then he died, then the other team took either Dragon or now Baron early on, and it's been like that back and forth.
And another thing that's important, you touched on Kayle early on, now got that death cap in there on top of the Lich Bane and that Nash's too. This is where the point where when you get to this stage as the Kayle, that's where it becomes absolutely scary. There's no other real way to put that on. Your ultimate becomes more and more valuable even as you're coming along. And with that scaling, they can also set up fights, chase for fights, or even after fights take more towers and inhibitors because of the fact that they can speed themselves straight up in there.
That's exactly the thing with Kayle. They give him, with the new changes, her heal will make you run so fast that if they want to chase up, if they want to have Youngbuck engaging him, pop the heal onto him, he goes into the backline of Millenium. Kayle is a little bit more utility-wise than beforehand, where she was this hard carry that could just one-shot everyone. She won't be able to do the same, but she's still very, very scary damage-wise late game.
If you let her get the items, it's still going to be very scary, as you mentioned. With this turret now going to come under pressure. Millenium are holding onto that one at this stage, but we've seen Piltover Peacemakers to come through. Not masses of poke actually from the Copenhagen Wolves team. In fact, the other side is stronger with Gragas able to throw out there, though the constant risk of a cocoon or a dark binding being thrown your way, and then basically Gragas blowing you back into the rest of the team.
Copenhagen Wolves have to either dive this one or try and rotate around the map and force Millenium to either be left behind so they can get some damage onto a turret, or they just have to realize the fact that Millenium has so much wave clear that if they're standing 5 against 5, it will be very hard to actually get to the turret.
They've just aggroed that one. They've got no minions to tank that one up for them. Acing the hole thrown through once again. Forgiven not being scared to actually use that just to get initial bursts of damage down onto Millenium before they do start to make moves. Counts out there just getting locked up by Cocoon. Too far away though to do anything.
The very smart move here from Copenhagen Wolves is actually going top because mid lane is pushing in their favor, bot lane is pushing in their favor, so they are getting damage onto the turrets, and also you see Youngbuck rotating quickly to mid, shoving out the wave, getting into the turret of Millenium, getting some damage. Meanwhile, they keep the rest of them up top.
Trying to hold on to that one. Kevin comes away, does have teleport, of course, which actually is on cooldown right now, but that's going to be coming off quite shortly, so they'll be able to join the rest of the team. And as soon as they see Kevin, Youngbuck saying, okay, you're down here, I'm just going to go straight back on towards this top side. Youngbuck actually going pretty close in. The Dark Blinding now off cooldown. Will he make his move? He's quite happy to just chip away some health and heal himself up there on towards Kevin. Again, those minions coming through. There's the pillar coming down, and Youngbuck getting caught up in things. But if he's distracting off to the side, then the rest of the team can do the turret damage.
As long as Caitlyn and Kayle can get a few hits on the turret, every single minion wave, they will be able to take it down in time and actually force Millenium to duty engage. And while Millenium is kind of poked down, they won't be able to go in for the real fight. If Kevin goes in now, he's too low. The damage from Counter, the damage from Forgiven will be able to take him down so easily because he's only on 50% HP.
Barrel's clearing out very quickly though. Doing about 780 damage to those creeps as they come through, which means that turret's probably not going to be lasting all that long. There's the split push cam in the bottom left as well, showing Youngbuck doing good damage to the inhib turret in the mid lane. Seems like just a matter of time before the floodgates really open, but Youngbuck actually going to get caught upon here. Uses his pull nicely. Amazing going to come around the side. They kick Aranea back. He flashes away, but he's going to go down. Countdown gets the kill. This could be disaster.
And Amazing, he flashed Aranea. That's why he was instantly after he flashed. He kicked him back into the team. No chance of Aranea to react on it. He had to flash afterwards when it was too late.
Well, the Gragas barrel didn't really do all that long. Dispersing them nicely, but didn't do the damage that they would have hoped for. There's Ace in the hole again, coming through and landing on towards Kerp.
And this is where Copenhagen Wolves just have to go straight in, take down this turret, go for the inhib, and then rotate top and take another turret. And that's what they're doing.
Oh, Cullen in a barrel there, almost catching Unlimited out. One more turret would have done it, as though Youngbuck is going to dive forward. Ultimate going down onto 2 people. Actually, will have to flash away. Inhib's going to go down, or is it so close? It's still alive in there, and they're now chasing in. Youngbuck going to go low. Now the Wolves turn around. Amazing goes in. One What an amazing kick that was! Cove goes down. This could actually be the game here for the Wolves if they play their cards right. Kevin goes down in the end. Big burst of damage from Countdown. This is surely game.
And Copenhagen Wolves actually went a little bit too aggressive just in the start of this fight. They didn't get in it, but due to amazing landing Q, jumping in, kicking back two people, he set up the whole fight and the game for Copenhagen Wolves.
And they make short work of these towers. Both of them on the Nexus are now down. Can they finish off the game? They're going to here. The Nexus is going to fall, and the Copenhagen Wolves in 44 minutes dispatch of Millenium. They're now 4 games unbeaten.
And we have to say, the last